In the last 2 decades, Tesla has gone from being a startup that aspired to build the first highway-legal fully electric sports car to being a top EV and car manufacturer. In the process, they proved the merit of the electric consumer vehicle market, opening it up to other automakers and helping the world transition to cleaner energy solutions. This year, they're celebrating the 20th anniversary of their founding, so today we're going to take a look at their history and how they came to make the best-selling car overall in the world. Let's get into it, and a special thanks to Autel for sponsoring this video. Tesla was founded on July 1st, 2003 in San Carlos, California by two engineers, CEO Martin Eberhard and CFO Mark Tarpenning. Their name at the time was Tesla Motors after the inventor Nikola Tesla, who did groundbreaking work in the field of electrical engineering. Leading up to this company being founded, companies had experimented with creating electric vehicles, but there hadn't been one released to the public yet, so that's what Tesla Motors set out to do. Elon Musk joined the team in 2004, investing $30 million into the company and becoming the chairman of their board of directors. In August of 2006, he posted his Master Plan Part 1, where he detailed how the company would go from building sports cars to building more affordable EVs long term, while also providing zero-emission electric power generation options. About a month later, they unveiled their first Roadster prototype, which they made the first production model of in 2008. It was the first electric vehicle that was a viable consumer product with a 250-mile range and the acceleration and speed of a sports car. It used a standard lithium-ion battery structure and could be charged using a standard wall outlet. It would take up to 48 hours to charge back up though, and the cost was well over $100,000. Only about 2,500 of those cars were produced, and it doesn't seem to be the focus for Tesla today. They've announced an updated version of the Roadster, and it looks very exciting, but we haven't seen it come to be. Shortly after launching the Roadster, Elon Musk took over as CEO in October of 2008. By 2009, the company had less than $10 million in cash on hand, which wasn't enough to deliver the vehicles they had already sold. Luckily, Daimler AG, now the Mercedes-Benz Group, as well as the US Department of Energy, made sizable investments that kept the company alive. Several months later, they relocated to Palo Alto, California, and in 2010, they went public. Around this time, Tesla made 4 versions of the Roadster, which helped them develop their first true consumer EV, the Model S. Revealed in 2009, this car would retail for $76,000, had a top speed of 130 miles per hour, a range of 300 miles, and a 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, which was unheard of for a consumer sedan at the time. It also had a much shorter charge time, making it a viable option for more consumers. It went into full production in 2012 and started receiving awards from automotive and environmental journals, setting the bar high for Tesla's future vehicles. Today, this car looks remarkably similar to how it did then, though it's been upgraded and refreshed to have more features, more range, and quicker acceleration. In February of 2012, Tesla announced plans to expand their lineup with the Model X, which would be launched 3 years later. Then in July, the Model S shipped to its first customers. Also in 2012, Tesla started installing their own freestanding fast charging stations, which they called Superchargers, starting with 6 in California. Now, 11 years later, there are over 45,000 stations worldwide. It's by far the best EV charging network in the US, with about 99.95% reliability. We've seen many companies recently acknowledge this by joining what Elon has dubbed the NACS coalition. That includes GM, Ford, Rivian, and soon more. In 2013, Tesla Motors had their first profitable quarter, which became more consistent in the following years. Today, they are one of the most profitable car companies in the whole world. In 2014, they announced their first Gigafactory, Giga Nevada, which would be dedicated to making batteries. That factory is in the top 100 largest buildings in the world by square footage at 4.9 million square feet. This is the factory that drives Tesla's vehicle production in the US, and so far they've made over 7.3 billion battery cells and 1.5 million battery packs at this factory. It actually hasn't even reached its capacity yet. It's still expanding, and they currently have plans to add 2 new factories near that site for Semi and 4680 battery production. Regarding the start of Autopilot and self-driving features, in October of 2015, Tesla Motors rolled out version 7.0 software to enable Autopilot on the Model S, which they would call the future of driving. It was designed to steer, brake, and accelerate vehicles on its own, with the driver still ultimately being in control. It's the same basic software Tesla would go on to use in their full self-driving suite today. As we see today, quote, Tesla cars come standard with advanced hardware capable of providing Autopilot features and full self-driving capabilities through software updates designed to improve functionality over time. This software has undergone many transformations since it was introduced, and it's still getting better each day. Also at the same time in 2015, Tesla announced Tesla Energy, offering solar products, and they announced the Powerwall. That branch went on to announce their solar roof and second generation Powerwall, the Powerwall 2, in 2016. As of December of last year, they have reached 500,000 solar panel and solar roof installations. Just this month as well, they announced they've deployed over 500,000 Powerwalls. This large network of Tesla solar and home energy systems allowed them to launch Tesla Electric. So far, Tesla Electric is available as a retail provider in Texas, and they've also been working on their virtual power plant projects all over the world. Homeowners that are part of the VPP can use their home's solar system to sell excess energy back to the grid and help protect homes without panels against power outages. Tesla's solar roof, which involves a total roof replacement, has been far less popular than they predicted, with only 3,000 of those having been deployed so far. It's also been a lot harder to get, and we've only seen one of the original 3 or 4 options available. By September, Tesla had officially launched the Model X, which, much like the Model S, still ships today with very similar features to the original. While the exterior hasn't changed much and the interior has definitely seen a refresh in 2021, the software in these cars has been constantly improving via over-the-air software updates. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Autel. The Autel Maxi Charger is a fast commercial AC charger with charging speeds up to 50 amps and 12 kilowatts. That makes it 9 times faster than a traditional home AC charger, and all of this can be adjusted through a hardware switch or with their versatile app. It's reliable and durable, operates from -40 to 131 degrees Fahrenheit, and has connectivity through Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and more. The large 5-inch LCD touchscreen on the charger itself gives you live charging updates, including energy used, duration, cost, power, voltage, and current, all of which syncs to the app to give you long-term charging info. You can also choose your charge current in the app, among many other things. It's set up for commercial use as well, giving customers accurate charging costs, allowing them to scan with RFID to charge, supporting dynamic load balancing, over-the-air updates, and more. There's a 25-foot cable with J1772 connector, allowing you to charge most EVs out there, like the Rivian R1T, or Tesla Model Y, and there is a new black color coming out this month as well. As a Tesla owner, this charger is seamless to use, will charge your Model Y or 3 up to 44 miles each hour, and it's particularly great to have app integration and controls for the charger itself. To check out the Autel Maxi Charger for yourself, click the link in the description below. In 2016, following the Model X's launch, Tesla announced the Model 3, which would be their first car priced below $70,000. At the time, it was supposed to start at $35,000, but the demand for this car, compounded with other production hurdles, kept it from actually being that affordable until pretty recently. That car wouldn't be released until 2017, though. Later that year, Elon posted Master Plan Part 2. He expanded that plan to include developing a self-driving capability that is 10 times safer than manual via massive fleet learning. He also added on that users will be able to enable your car to make money for you when you aren't using it. Around that time, they started testing their full self-driving software, which they originally said would be ready by the end of the year with a $5,000 enhanced Autopilot feature upgrade, as well as a $3,000 full self-driving capability feature upgrade. In November of 2016, they shared a video of a Model X equipped with FSD driving on normal streets, which they still feature on their Autopilot website. The video starts by saying the person in the driver's seat is only there for legal reasons. He is not doing anything. The car is driving itself. Today, the FSD package is available for all their vehicles as a $15,000 upgrade. Their cars use a camera-only system now, no longer involving radar or ultrasonic sensors, which has been an ongoing change. The FSD beta software can be requested, and 400,000 people currently have it in the US and Canada. Despite its name, this is a Level 2 driver assist system, which means it still requires drivers to pay attention and monitor it. Elon has promised actual full autonomy basically every year since this software was introduced, and this year is no exception. At this point, we have no idea what the actual timeline here is, but Tesla has at least proven that they're hard at work improving this AI-based system. At the start of 2017, Tesla Motors Inc. officially changed its name to Tesla Inc. to embrace the fact that they are much more than a motor vehicle company. The name now not only encompasses their EV production operations, but their solar and energy storage solutions, as well as their AI development. In July, Tesla released the Model 3, but it didn't come easily. Headlines at the time reported a production hell that involved bottlenecks that needed to be solved, and the first Model 3s being built partially by hand. They eventually released a video in 2018 showing off the Model 3 production line that had finally been finished. Today, it's one of the most popular EVs in the world. It's made in Fremont and Giga Shanghai, and they're on the cusp of doing a major refresh for the first time in 7 years. It now starts just over the $40,000 mark in the US, but after state and federal incentives, you can get it below $35,000. Taking inflation into consideration, since this car was unveiled, that's pretty impressive. In November of 2017, Tesla had an event where they unveiled their Semi. That event is also where they pulled a one more thing and announced the Roadster. In October of 2022, Tesla finally began production on the Tesla Semi, and initial deliveries were made to PepsiCo on December 1st. Today, as far as we know, they're the only company that has semis, and Tesla is planning to scale those up further in the future at Giga Nevada. Throughout 2018, Tesla continued to ramp Model 3 production very slowly. By Q4 of 2018, they had produced 61,394 Model 3s with 63,150 deliveries, showing promising growth. It started to become pretty obvious how much more popular that car was going to be than the much more expensive Model S and X. Clearly, they were going to need a new factory. In January of 2019, Tesla broke ground on a new factory, Giga Shanghai. Today, it's their most productive factory, and they've been rumored to be scaling it even further to 20,000 units a week. A lot of those cars are being shipped to Europe and Canada. Then in March of 2019, they made one of their most important announcements yet by unveiling the Model Y. It was larger than a Model 3, appealing to an ever-growing market for crossover SUVs in the US. At the time, Elon had said, "I think we'll probably do more Model Ys than S, X, and 3 combined, most likely." That was a pretty lofty statement at the time, considering this car hadn't even been released yet, but it's one prediction that would definitely come true. In 2019 as well, they introduced their own insurance as a way to offer Tesla owners better rates. Other insurance providers generally charge premiums to cover electric vehicles, but Tesla insurance is generally more affordable. It was first made available in California, but today is available in 12 states: Arizona, California, Colorado, Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, Nevada, Ohio, Oregon, Texas, Utah, and Virginia. In every state but California, their insurance monitors your driving to offer real-time rates, adjusting it based on how safely you drive with the measurement tools that are already inside the vehicle. Quote, "The safer you drive, the higher your safety score and the lower your insurance premium." In November, Tesla unveiled the Cybertruck, which they planned to release with armored glass, a stainless steel body, and incredible off-road performance. It was supposed to start under $40,000, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen after years of delays. Now this truck seems to be finally entering production, and we may see deliveries this September. Of course, that event also involved the infamous window break on the Cybertruck. While headlines were dominated by the Cybertruck and the window break, and people thinking Tesla would never actually make this crazy vehicle, in January of 2020, Tesla broke ground on another Gigafactory in Berlin, which would become very important for Model Y production. Today, they make 5,000 Model Ys per week there, and about a year ago, they released a video of their production process. Model Y deliveries began in March of 2020 from their Fremont factory, and that's when I got my first Tesla. 2 weeks after deliveries started, I was able to review my own Model Y for the first time. Around August, Tesla broke ground on yet another Gigafactory, this time in Texas. A month later, they held their first Battery Day event, where they unveiled the 4680 battery, and several other innovations that were meant to save them time and money. Their biggest announcement at that event, though, was for their future $25,000 EV. Of course, we've yet to see this car, but we know Tesla is planning to get there. As for the 4680 cell, that technology has taken a while to scale. They currently ship the base Model Y with a 4680 battery pack, and they recently announced that they'd produced their 10 millionth 4680 cell at Giga Texas. That's enough cells to build around 12,000 Model Ys. In October of 2020, Tesla deployed their first Megapack at the world's largest battery project with California's Pacific Gas and Electric. It was one of the largest utility-owned lithium-ion battery energy storage systems in the world, in collaboration with Dinergy, an electric company based in Houston that owns and operates a number of power stations in the US. Since opening and ramping a new megafactory in Lathrop, California, they've been able to deploy about 4.5 megapacks per day, with a goal of producing 40 gigawatt hours annually. But back to their cars. At the beginning of 2021, Tesla unveiled the Plaid Model S and X. The Plaid Model S became the quickest accelerating production vehicle with a 0 to 60 in 1.99 seconds. They also announced a 520-mile range option at the time called Plaid Plus, but that car never actually came to production. The Plaid Model S was launched in June though, and they displayed several features that weren't actually available until much later, like AAA gaming. Scaling for this car also took a while, but today you can buy one for $108,490 and get it delivered almost immediately. In August, they held their first AI Day event, where they announced their Tesla bot project, Optimus. That bot has made some progress since then, but we're still likely years away from it being released. Unlike some other companies developing humanoid robots, Tesla seems to be aiming to release Optimus for consumers instead of businesses. While they've demonstrated using this robot on their factory lines, it's intended to be another product for them to release in the future. In March of 2022, Tesla cut the ribbon on Gigafactory Berlin, and a month later opened Giga Texas. I was actually able to attend the Cyber Rodeo event where they teased the Cybertruck and had a walkthrough on the factory floor. Today, they make 5,000 Model Ys per week there and are planning to scale it even further. That's also where Cybertruck production will take place soon, and it's been rumored that they're planning to ramp up to 375,000 Cybertrucks per year, but we'll have to see. This year, they had their first Investor Day, where they announced another Gigafactory that'll be built in Nuevo León, Mexico, and detailed their Gen 3 platform. Elon also went over the company's Master Plan Part 3 for a sustainable future. At that event, they detailed all the ways that they plan to bring down cost for future cars from a lot of different angles. That new factory in Mexico will be where they produce their Gen 3 vehicles first, which will likely be that $25,000 vehicle that they announced at Battery Day. In May, Tesla broke ground on their first ever lithium refinery, which will aid in supplying raw materials for their batteries. Tesla has prioritized vertical integration since the beginning, and this factory will help own even more of the supply chain. In the future, this could be a huge step in overcoming the supply constraints that have been the main inhibitor of EV battery production throughout the industry for years. Also in May of this year, the Tesla Model Y became the best-selling car in the world by units sold and was the first EV ever to do so. Just this month as well, Tesla took the top 4 spots on Cars.com's index for the most American-made vehicle. The index measures assembly location, parts content, engine origin, transmission origin, and US manufacturing workforce. It would surprise many that a household name such as Ford is number 38 on this list for their F-150 Lightning EV, while the Tesla Model Y, 3, S, and X hold the top 4 positions. That brings us up to date on Tesla's history and how they came to be as popular as they are. Of course, there are going to be details that we probably missed here because a ton has happened in the last 20 years. When diving in deeper, there are surely millions of small decisions behind the scenes that have led to their success, but these are the main events that have impacted Tesla's journey thus far. As for the future, we're expecting to hear about a Cybertruck delivery event as soon as next month. Tesla will also continue to scale all of their cars, though we're going to see a lot more of the Model 3 and Y than we will of the Model S and X. As part of that scaling, they're settling on the location of yet another factory that they'll likely announce this year. In the coming years, we can expect to see Tesla working on their more affordable Gen 3 vehicle, as well as advancing their FSD software to the point where you don't actually need a driver. We can also expect to see Tesla Electric expand beyond Texas, as Tesla solar systems gain popularity throughout the US and the rest of the world. I would also assume that Tesla Insurance will expand to at least every state in the US and maybe even worldwide. At the rate Tesla has been growing in the past few years, I don't see anything stopping them from continuing to be a world leader, not only in the EV space, but in electrification as a whole, well into the future. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a few things about where Tesla came from. In the meantime, if you want to see the latest Tesla news, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.